The Addams Family 2. The beloved, creepy, and kooky family is back, and they're going on the road to spread their macabre madness. Last time we saw them back in 2019, the family decided to make a fully animated comeback and managed to do what very few could accomplish: become a box office hit as a non-Disney animated feature. I remember back when it came out, and I was optimistically curious to see how the Addams would make their grand return and use the power of animation to let nothing hold them back.
Fire in the hole!
You sunk my battleship!
I did not enjoy it. It was bad enough that the only real joke of the picture was the writing and how the animation looked more awkward than actually pleasant to watch, but the biggest reason why I honestly hate this movie is because of how boring it is. Seriously, this movie took the most iconic weird family in pop culture history and made them completely generic and forgettable. It requires effort to have them become everything that they're not. But again, the first movie was a hit, and that immediately signaled the studio to make a sequel at an alarming speed by releasing it just 2 years after its predecessor. So now that the family is going on a big trip, will this be scary by how much they have improved from last time? Or is there much more that needed to be fixed than just their bond? Let's find out. The story. Looks like the Addams are not as close as they used to be. The kids are at the point where they feel like they want to be distant from their parents and live their own lives. So what can Gomez and Morticia do to help save their signature bond? The answer? A good old-fashioned family road trip. I mean, if the Mitchells can reconnect after their exciting and crazy trip in the same year as this, then the Addams family can certainly do the same in the way they know how to do best, right?
You've always wanted to see more of this great country.
Right in the Niagara Falls.
Yeah, that's just wishful thinking to the point where I'm just lying to myself. I'll say right now that the movie's biggest problem is the same as the first. It's completely boring. Outside of the Addams Family iconography, there is nothing that this feature does to make itself different from any other family film, down to the point of copying many recognizably tiresome cliches to keep the plot going, complete with a handful of moments where they play some old pop songs to either play up the comedy or to have a random dance number. Even the road trip story can barely even qualify as a legitimate story. It feels more like a checklist of all the typical places where a family road trip plot would go, like a popular landmark, a beach, a camping ground, and a canyon, just so they could pull off their little shenanigans during their stay. At the same time, in an attempt to making things interesting, the film also includes a plotline regarding Wednesday and the possibility that she might not be biologically linked to the Addams. I get that it's meant to be the heart of the picture to provide a message of family values, but not only does it not make things better by being openly predictable with the direction that it takes with her arc, and, again, emphasizes how this is the unamusingly generic family road trip movie, but there is also something that feels kind of familiar. Didn't the first movie also have a plotline where Wednesday wanted to distance herself from the family for the sake of figuring out her own identity? Is this seriously one of those sequels that have to resort to recycling its own materials for the sake of crafting its narrative? I guess when you only have 2 years to make an entire mainstream animated feature, it should be no surprise that the writing would use some desperate tactics to get the job done quicker. Yes, I know I could be wrong with that statement, but the quality of the script certainly feels that way.
Mother, father, this is cruel, even for you.
It is also worth noting that the film has a few side plots to give some of the other family members some attention, like Pugsley trying to get a girlfriend, Grandmama throwing a big party back at home, and Uncle Fester slowly turning into an octopus. However, they have virtually nothing to do with the main story, and all they serve is just filler to give the movie its 85-minute running time. If there is one thing that maybe, just maybe, it might have improved from the original, it's the comedy. I won't say that the humor is good or that it has a lot of jokes that are effectively funny, But I would lie if I say that I didn't laugh at all throughout the picture, and some moments can be slightly enjoyable, like Uncle Fester's wacky antics.
She was silent as a jellyfish, and I put all the babies back where I found them. I think.
There are some things that will never change, and the story proves that this version of the Addams Family is still as dreadfully bland as ever. The animation. One of the purposes of a road trip is to get out of the house and to see the sights that you normally never get a chance to experience. So, for an animated film, a road trip means giving the audience something new to experience with the animation, and develop plenty of new and amazing environments for the characters to explore. But let's not forget, this is the animated MGM Addams Family. There's no such thing as something that's new and original. The animation is well rendered and does have that polished look that is worth putting up on the big screen, but the concepts are just as dull and unengaging as everything else here. Like I said before, the places that they go are the typical road trip destinations with nothing that makes the backgrounds even give any form of a unique touch to their respective generic location. There's Niagara Falls, where it's just looking at a waterfall, the woods where they gather around a fire, a beach where they meet up with Cousin It, and the Grand Canyon where it's just a canyon. There are a few other spots where they go to, but the point is that regardless of where they are on the map, the destinations are not interesting enough to have this be engaging, which is a crucial issue for a road trip movie where the point is to get excited to see where the characters go to next.
It's just us and the wonderful sound of silence.
Speaking of which, I'm honestly not surprised that the film did not address the predecessor's issue with the designs. Technically, the art style is meant to emulate the artwork of Charles Addams, and while this does work out fine for the family themselves, along with providing them a fair amount of detail in the texture to enhance the computer animation, everyone else, though, not so much. They wanted to look more abstract and simplified with their designs, but they end up more awkward than have any charm to them. It's like if the style looks good on paper and can be fine in 2D, but the transition to 3D did not work as well as they probably hoped. On the other hand, there are some elements in the animation that I will give credit to be a solid job. Considering the type of situations they get themselves in and the weapons that they have at their disposal, there is a prominent use of effects that the film takes full advantage of, especially with all of Wednesday's scientific experiments, Pugsley's use of explosions, and the water that splashes around.
Depths of the sea, back to the black Snoop Doggy Dogg, funky, yeah.
I'll also give it credit that the movie does have a monster-sized climax where they let out the most creativity in a major battle, and I can see how the scene itself can be a lot of fun. But it's hard to enjoy it after sitting through more than an hour's worth of a cartoon so tiresome that all my cares left out on their own road trip. It's not necessarily bad animation. I mean, I could see that the animators did their job and did it well. It's just the materials and concepts that they were given is what makes this movie boring to also look at. The characters. If the family is not amusing in their whimsically horror-filled house, what makes you think they are enjoyable anywhere else? What is supposed to be the main selling point of these movies are still not good enough to make the experience worth it or to even justify this variation of the recognizable family. They try to have their own unique trait and still have those celebrities voicing them and do their best to bring life to a hopeless script, but it would take a lot more than some macabre madness to make the trip with them fun. Gomez and Morticia are once again the concerned parents that try to reconnect with their kids, especially Wednesday. Pugsley is at the age where he wants to find true love, but it's kind of weird how he went backwards in puberty. This is not to criticize Javon Walton, he did a good acting job, but there is a noticeable difference between him and Finn Wolfhard from before.
You made me miss. Do you know how long it took for me to set this up?
Ouch! I just skinned my knee. falling for you.
There's also Uncle Fester, who does appear more than before, and I will admit that despite not providing much to the narrative, he does have most of the better jokes of the movie. Some of the others, like Grandmama, Lurch, Thing, and Cousin It, are also featured, but their role is significantly minor to just be an aid to either the trip or to help with Wednesday's situation. Speaking of the girl, Wednesday is possibly the most prominent member of the family for this feature, mainly because of the chance that she may not be an Addams after all. I'll be honest, I get that her straightforward and deadpan expression is all part of her personality. She's supposed to be the calm psycho of the family. But in this movie, where the story is already as dull as it is, her act gets old real quick and just adds to the dreary mood where I end up feeling like Wednesday for all the wrong reasons, just emotionless and show no care to whatever happens to these characters or the situations that they get themselves in.
Pass it back!
I'm not a freak. I'm a force of nature.
There are a few additional characters along the way, like the lawyer voiced by Wallace Shawn that the family runs away from and make them jump quickly from state to state, and Cyrus Strange, who has a keen interest in Wednesday. I won't go further for spoiler reasons, but when you know why, you know exactly what kind of character he is. This kind of road trip is all about family bonding and getting closer to one another to strengthen the connection. In terms of these characters and its audience, that mission was an absolute failure. I can confidently say that The Addams Family 2 is the next Mitchells vs. the Machines. But without the engaging story, the creative animation, the exciting action, the hilarious humor, the heartfelt message of family, and the enjoyable characters. So it's like The Mitchells vs. the Machines, except it's not good. The Addams Family 2 repeats what the first movie accomplished by taking the popular family and turning them into one of the most boringly generic kids films in recent years. Are there some good things about it? Yes, the animation can have some nice effort put into it, but this trip is not worth the experience if it means to sit through some awful writing that leads to a painfully predictable story and forgettably bland characters, and even some of the animation can either get uninteresting or uncomfortable with those awkward designs. At the most, those who do enjoy the 2019 film will most likely have fun with this too. But I personally would not recommend this one because there's almost nothing about this that's worth your time. It's not even the fun kind of bad that can be memorable. It's just not worth it because it's boring. And because of this feeling that it gave me that my time should be better spent somewhere else, I gotta give this one the Animat seal of garbage. This is the kind of trip where I'd much rather stay home.
Well done, Gomez.